Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your overwhelming response on LinkedIn. I got a lot of emails, I got a lot of messages, and even calls. My first video session, I would like to talk about something which we are not taught in the books. This is basically, I'm trying to give you a scenario wherein you get a case wherein an accused is charged of serious offense. And then what happens? How do you proceed to fight that case? Because a lot of times there is moral ethics and your own conscience when you fight the case. So this was a fundamental question that I had in my mind all throughout in the initial years, that how do you defend a person who's been charged with serious offense? Now, the Moral and Ethical Code and the Advocate Act clearly states that it's our duty, we are duty bound to accept any brief that comes our way as a lawyer, with exceptional circumstances like there's no conflict of interest or other special circumstances. Okay, if we are able to take the brief and it does not fall in any of the special circumstances, what about your own conscience? And it used to disturb me a lot in the initial years. And one day, while I was practicing with Mr. Jetmalani, I very hesitatingly asked that, what gives you the courage to take the cases which are so serious in nature, and how do you talk to your own conscience at the same time? Because you a lot of people would agree that when we talk about moral and ethics, and in our lawyers group, or when we go out meet our family and all, we are able to argue for hours and hours, telling them that it's our duty to take the case and we cannot refuse the case. But what we do not talk about is our own conscience throughout. Now, when I asked Mr. Jetmalani about this, he told me a few things. Apart from that, he told me to read a famous case of Oscar Slater, which is now 100 years old. But why I'm trying to tell the young practitioners or students about this is that this helped me personally to become stronger. Not everyone is very courageous, and I was one of them. I was also light-hearted when it came to this, because you have to go back to your family, talk to the people around you, and they form a perception about you when you're doing those cases where the accused are charged with serious offense. So he told me to read a case of Oscar Slater, and Oscar Slater is known as a scandalous case of wrongful conviction, wherein Oscar Slater was convicted and sentenced to death, and because he was charged of a murder of an old lady, and there were 12 to 15 witnesses who identified that the Slater was the guy who killed the lady, and he was sentenced to life. He was sentenced to death, which was, and he was undergoing prison for 19 years before a lot of intellectuals and scholars wrote to the authorities, and after some time he got a pardon from death sentence and got a commutation of life. And later on, a lot of people again wrote about it, and I suppose in somewhere in 1925-26, there was the Scottish Criminal Court of Appeal formed, in which on a technical ground his conviction was quashed. Now this case has been still be people scholars are still writing about this case, and there are books and plays on the curious case of Oscar Slater. So what I want to explain, and what I want to talk about this, is that there's a lot of cases of wrongful conviction. There's a lot of cases of people getting scot free, having evidence scot free as well. But what I would like to say is that as a lawyer, it is our duty to protect our client. And you read these cases, Oscar Slater, there's another case of Adolf Peck, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. And on a lighter note, you should also go and see Criminal Justice on Hotstar, and you will understand what I'm talking about, because it was the lawyer who always believed that his client is innocent, and after so many years, they were able to get him acquitted of all the charges. Thank you very much for listening to this. Keep writing, keep telling me what I should talk about. I'll be really, really glad and happy. Thanks. Bye.